Second.
Aye. Oh. Oh! I thought that we had to have that light on. I'm sorry. Future project discussion?
Thank you. So before we get started, I just want to introduce again the commission and anyone watching to Brittany Cameron, who's going to be the new Assistant City Planner and will be our staff liaison for the Arts and Culture Commission. So welcome, Brittany. We took some information from the last meeting to get us started on a discussion today related to the concept of music in the park. And so starting on page 3, what we took a look at was working with Trevor Magnuson, the Parks and Recreation Coordinator, and taking a look at what currently is happening just to make sure if we want to join another group or do something a little bit different. We kind of wanted to get a lay of the land on what was going on there. So you'll see a couple of the current events throughout the season. This is going to be for 2022, and what we're looking at is 2023. But you can kind of see a little bit of variety there that's happening. You'll also see a few links of current things that are happening in the region if you wanted to take a peek at those at a different time. And then also a link to Moorhead Parks map, which all sort of leads us to some of the questions for consideration, which are on the bottom of page 3. So we wanted to get a little bit of feedback from the commission today about what this gathering, this music at the park looks like, and then we just had a couple questions for conversation here at the bottom as well. So would this be something that we would want to use our stage for? Would we want to specifically invite certain types of musicians or have sort of like an open mic concept for musicians? Would we want to look at different parks throughout the year or focus something on one park? And then look at, how often should this occur? Is it once a month? Is it 1 month over a series of weeks? Just wanted to get some feedback on those questions and any other ideas you have as we continue to refine this concept. So I will just open the floor at this point and just get any feedback that you have as we move this concept into 2023.
I'll chime in. I think it would be great if you had that stage set permanently and it was on a set date, like every Wednesday, pick a day of the week and show up. And I guess it would be, bring your lawn chairs and, if you're downtown here, you'd have a playground for kids to wander off while the parents may spend more time. You might, we could even have vendors, selling stuff behind if that was, there. And I just think either downtown or Woodlawn has an amphitheater built in, there, but I don't know how much that gets in the way of the disc golf, course there. So, but I would just, it'd be, and I think it'd be great. And it would be, obviously somebody would have to put in some time to figure out finding musicians. Some of them maybe just have 3 songs they want to sing, and some of them could sit up there all evening, and it'd be a mix. I think I think of a junkyard. Whether I don't know if they still do or not. I haven't been there for a while, but they always had somebody there, and they playing for a while, and So anyway, that's my chiming in.
Maybe like a 2-hour time slot.
Yeah, I don't think you.
Yeah, I pondered when we got the packet sent out last week, and I'm of similar mind of Larry, you know, kind of one location at a recurring time of the week. I would say have where different people could sign up, and maybe there's one night a week or one night a month where it's open mic night or something. So if Paula wants to do one song and Tim wants to do a set of 3 songs, then everybody could get on stage. But otherwise, just kind of one act a night, or a whatever time of day. But yeah, I don't know if because I haven't been in Moorhead that long. Is parking a concern? Is it going to be just neighborhood-ish people, or are people going to drive to this? Is Woodlawn better parking than downtown? I don't know, but might be something to consider.
That's, I guess, why I'm thinking maybe the first year to have several different venues, but on the same evening, same time, so that we can see, are people skating there? Are they biking there? Are they driving? Do we have more attendance in certain neighborhoods? Just to make it more accessible to the entire community, and see what venues show. Then people know the parks too, because my children haven't been to all the parks in Moorhead. Just something different. I don't know.
Button, like, oh, the 3 buttons. There we go. Sorry. Yeah, I like all those comments and ideas. As a musician, I think that there's several things we have to keep in mind, and one of them is logistics of a stage and the different configurations that you may encounter depending on who the performers are. If you have a group, whether you have an individual, is there a backdrop? Is there a microphone? Is there good lighting and all those kinds of things, sound system and so on. And I like the idea of a predictable place that people know that is the performance space. Although I love the idea of the parks, I think there you'd be getting into more of the logistical type things that people may not just happen across a performance in a park someplace unless they're in the park or going to the park. And if it was, say, in downtown area somewhere or someplace close to high traffic, high access, easy access parking and so on, I think that may be, until people discover that this is a reoccurring event that's on a somewhat regular schedule. I think there's always the possibility that folks might just happen across it and discover that this is something cool, and how often is this happening. And then the last thing that struck me as we as I was thinking about this before tonight too is, what about budget? I mean, is there budget to pay performers to do this? If there is, great, because I think that way there's some accountability, and you'll have folks that are serious about doing this, and it's not just an open mic kind of a situation where you never know what you're going to get. And that way there could also be some screening involved as you take interest from performers that may want to do this. And then as we set up parameters for it, how long would it be and how much time would we allow for it, so that people can kind of plan that into their evenings as well. So, I mean, I think it's a great idea. I love the idea of it.
Dennis?
everybody else, I mean, I like the idea of moving around, but I know that there's always that issue of getting people to find it each time it happens. I think we're just better off having one spot for now, where everybody can.
Yeah, and just to reiterate, and I think Blue Stem is too far. That's not a place where people go unless they're going there. You know, unfortunately, I wish it was closer to the main part of Moorhead and more people had access to that, but it is what it is.
I was going to say, is it Davies right in the corner by Fairmont? Is that the name of the park, or is it Memorial Park? By Fairmont?
Davie Memorial. Yep.
Davie Memorial, okay. You know, one of the things, if you go there, you go past that, there's parking down, further down, it's a walk. It's also, you have a bike path that comes from the north, from the south. It's connected in a way. If a family wanted to come there, they're going to get there safely if they're on a bike or walking. And then, you know, it's not all that far away from places to buy a beverage or an ice cream cone or something like that. So you can make a real nice evening out of it. So that would be my pitch right there, Davie Memorial.
How, the ever-present trains, how noisy would train traffic be
Can't.
there?
They got to keep their whistle down, so.
Well, but
Yeah, I know.
In fact, we can work around that. You know, I mean, that you just wait for it. You know, I mean, this is going to be informal enough that you can just take a little break while a noisy train is going by. I mean, so I like that idea too for that spot. And it's, you know, a lot of people drive by there. You know, we could put some signage up nearby. There could be, yeah, I mean, there could be regular signage that's there. You know, what this week's performance, Wednesday night at 7 o'clock or whatever it happens to be. Whatever. I mean, that would be a place where there'd be a lot of traffic and a lot of visibility.
Where they hold river arts, so the stage is often there.
Else?
How would we go about finding performers? I mean, would there be an application process? Would there be, you know, somebody that was coordinating that would be seeking talent, or?
We would love suggestions. So if you have any ideas of how to best do that, we would love to get some feedback on that.
Yeah, you know, just thinking that, you know, I think it's good to have a committee or something like that that's kind of working on this. People with different interests, you know. I mean, if you get all younger type folks, you're going to have a different kind of preferences for performers, and likewise, if you get, you know, people that are not so young, that might have different, again, perceptions that of what they'd like to hear, and to get a variety of things that may appeal to a wider audience. You know, and then to have somebody that would be like the coordinator that would do the contracting and set up the staging and make sure that they have what they need. I would think that would be, you'd want somebody that would be kind of the liaison between artists. And there are plenty of local artists in the community that people never hear or see. It would be fun to have a few of those. I also like the idea of, you know, multiple performers on a night, so that you don't have to work up an hour-long concert, you know, but 15 minutes if you've got 3 or 4 acts in one evening. That's kind of fun to have that spice too, that variety.
Does anybody know, or does anybody frequent Junkyard? You know, find out how they get their acts. Are they solicited, or are the acts contacting them, or?
That I don't know, and they don't do that anymore. But when
beginning, they probably solicited, but then once word got out, I think people came to them and
I
said,
know,
hey,
like
I'm gonna be
Far-
in
Fargo
Moorhead
Brewing
on-
kind of, you know,
Yeah.
as a whole.
Yeah, because they would have
talent
some
scout thing.
performers from the cities and stuff, so I think
Yeah.
it's like, hey, I'm gonna be driving through, can I play this night, kind of thing.
And there were resources behind that too, you know. So if somebody was coming in, you know, to be the feature for a night or two, they got paid what they're worth. You know, and there are some places where people volunteer to come and perform, you know, and that's something that does happen. But I don't think you should always expect that, you know, and that just it's not really fair to artists to ask them to do that.
And we will have a budget. Is there any sort of going rate for, say, like an hour, 2-hour performance, or an average?
I think it depends on the group. I mean, depending on the size of the group or you know, the experience of the group. I mean, I would probably say that, you know, you'd be looking at, for a small group to come in or an individual, you know, $500 range would be reasonable for an hour gig. Probably the minimum.
It's pretty easy to send sample tapes now. I mean, you can just, you know, this is, here I am performing, you know, send a tape through the internet or recording through the internet, and everything. And I always think of it as too, is if you got somebody that's just starting off and it's just like, is it, how do you ask for tips? You know, it's like, hey, you know, here's a, you know, and somebody, this person's really good. Boom, boom, boom. They want to come back. They go, you know, I'm doing it for tips, but I walk away with $100 in my pocket for, you know. So somehow if you could tactfully figure a way how to do that, I think it would be appreciated by musicians. So.
Yeah, and also, you know, most musicians will have some kind of recording for sale too. That, you know, that would be a good venue to do that. And we don't use tapes or CDs anymore, so it would be, you know, here's a QR code to my SoundCloud or whatever, and you know, you can have access to my library of things for, you know, X amount of money, and that's, you know, that's how they do it now.
Does anyone know of any specific like websites or places to solicit musicians?
I don't. I mean, except
We can
for
do
social
some
media.
looking into that too.
Yeah, social media, you know,
Mhm.
Instagram and Facebook probably, but most artists have a Facebook page or and an Instagram page, Twitter sometimes, usually.
I saw an open mic performance in Fargo, and it was, I think most of the musicians were high school students, and they were awfully good. So I think just contacting the schools, say if you got a promising individual or group of people, here's a chance.
Yeah, and even you know, you could have a high school night or something like that where there would be you know, you could even have a little competition or something that was you know, that was a way to get young performers to come and do something. I mean, that would be kind of fun, and you'd get a different audience, and they could play an instrument or sing or, you know, whatever that happens to be. But I think, you know, word of mouth and contacting teachers, contacting other musicians in the community, putting out some kind of a PR marketing that we're hunting for musicians, and this is what we're looking for. I think as long as we have enough lead time on that, and we have dates picked out and times and places and, you know, a rain date and all of that, those things are, I mean, I think it could be a really big thing. It could be very successful. People come to expect it at a certain time of the summer. Yeah, I think it could be a lot of fun. And coordinate with, I know that the Broadway Square does a regular, I don't know if it's a series or not, but they do some regular outdoor performances down there on their stage, which is beautiful and, you know, right downtown. Actually not far away from the park, but then you have access there. I mean, it's not easy to get to downtown for most people, but you know, I think there's the green space is very attractive for family audiences, for young children and that kind of thing to have in a park. There's the playground there, right? Do they have a playground in the park there? Yeah, okay.
There's also live music most Saturdays at the Red River Market in the summers. That might be another place to contact and pick their brains about how they get those people.
And I know Trevor is doing music at the Moorhead Farmers Market this year too. So that'll be, he started that last year and it will continue on this year as well. This is fantastic feedback, and I think we can really start to shape what this might look like and continue to have the conversation with you all as well. I think at the next meeting, we can start putting together a few more details and maybe just think about, you know, maybe we have 2 members of the commission that would want to serve on the committee that would select the musicians. So think if that might be something that you're interested in. But I can't think of any other questions at this time. I think this really helps us put together more of a mold of what this might look like. So I really appreciate it.
Is there anything else you needed to pick our brains about? All right, then I guess we'll move on to reports or information. Anybody have any announcements about upcoming events or the like? I know Theater B, I'm not sure exactly what the dates are now because they've pushed back opening a bit. I think it starts next week, runs through about the end of the month. Mr. Burns, a post-electric play. Check Theater B's website for dates and times. Anything else? Then I guess I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I don't think you need a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
I don't think you need a motion. I think you can just adjourn.
Okay. Oh, I couldn't hear you. Then meeting is adjourned. See you next month.